I came back already. Good. So welcome. I hope you had a good lunch and you're not too tired. And in order to make sure you're not too tired, let me quickly start with a quick energizer. Maybe in pairs, just think about what is the main challenge for you for client relations. Okay? In pairs. Biggest challenge for client relations, just one. And I'd like to hear in pairs some feedback, okay? Biggest challenge. You okay? Ah, yes. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Okay. Let's hear a couple. Maybe I start here on my right. So, can you mention? Yeah, I throw the microphone again. Can you just mention one and then you pass it on?
You have a nice voice. I think one of the biggest challenges is prices with clients, because it's hard to explain why you have to charge a certain amount, because clients don't always understand what you have to pay with your money.
Okay, thank you.
I would say it's explaining without suffering too much and without being too much of a bully.
Okay.
Why it is good for the client to pay what I'm asking for.
Okay, again the payment? So
yeah, but with a different spin.
Different way, the why. Mm-hmm.
Finding clients,
okay,
because I just became a freelance very, very recently.
Okay, congratulations.
Persuading and convincing clients.
Okay, let's move on. Just per group, I'm taking per group. Persuading and convincing clients.
Acquiring new clients in the first place. And if you have them to convince them that we need to work in a team of two, at least two.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We mentioned something that might happen with long-dated clients. You have been with them for years and years, like 10, 15, 18 years, and all of a sudden you lower your guards and they disappear. And you don't know why. Something happens. Somebody younger, cheaper comes, and you lose them.
All right. Thank you. Let's pass it on.
Well, in my case, it's finding the right person. I mean, I try to find, the contact person for the company, but most of the time I can't seem to find it.
The contact.
Yes, and then your email gets lost. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to find that person.
Okay.
So we listed two of the things already mentioned, and one that hasn't been mentioned yet is when companies come and say, this is the budget I have, and regardless of the other way around, but probably with other professions it's not like that. They don't challenge the fact that they've budgeted incorrectly, but rather try to impose the price on us.
Hello, yeah. So for me, it would be finding this sweet spot for the client. When the client would say, oh yeah, that's what I need. It's bingo moment. To differentiate, to offer something special.
The bingo moment.
The bingo moment, yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's keeping in touch with a client, like reminding him that you are there without feeling that you bother him or that you're begging for the next contract.
Okay, very good. One more? Okay, good. Any other comments? Okay.
One second. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I'm passing around a sheet of paper so that you can put down your names, because at the end there will be a virtual...
A surprise.
A surprise. Okay. So you just put down your names.
Okay. Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay, good. So some very specific and some larger things. We have 45 minutes. I try to cover, firstly, who you are as an entrepreneur in general, okay? And there's some worksheets with you, and I don't think we have time today that I give you time to fill it out, but it's whatever you can, fill it out, and if not, at home. And then also how you look at the market. So I don't have now specific things of the fees and pricing or negotiation if you want, but at the end, if you have a moment, please feel free to ask me, okay? So just to start, what an entrepreneurial life is, okay? So this is what your mom thinks you do, probably, you know, being a millionaire. This is what friends think you do, you know, relaxing at the pool. This is what society thinks. You own a big yacht. And this is what the investors think. And that's what you actually do, probably, thinking a lot. And that's what most entrepreneurs really do, okay? So this is sort of life of an entrepreneur in general. What I'd like to cover is now the following. First, as an entrepreneur. And again, I hope to cover the different comments you made about what you want to get out of this session. So one is strength, improvement, the USP, your unique selling point. What's the purpose? And then talk also about the confidence as an entrepreneur or a freelancer. Okay? So what's the strength? The strength is basically the newest, if you want, management theories. It's to strengthen your strength. Many people, they focus a lot on what am I weak at? What is it that I cannot do? So contrary, nowadays, it's basically said you should focus on the things you're good at. So in your case, it's certainly not only entrepreneur and being interpreter, but to find other skills that you have that you really either enjoy and you're good at, and to focus on them. So in general, you should really not focus on the weakness. If you're not good with, I don't know, technical things or with the admin, we get to that in a second, those you want to delegate or get other people. But you should strengthen your strength. So for that, again, I give you a little moment later to think about what your strengths are. Delegate what you're not good at, be confident in decision-making, and shout out to the market and the things that you're good at. So now, this is the Strengths Finder's wheel, okay? I think you have it in the booklet. So these are the things that you should map for yourself. You can do so now. I give you a little bit of the definitions. This session, again, like I said before, for me, it's giving you the tools. First of all, is getting to know you, and then the tools, what you can do, what's inside your control to increase your business. So here, to map the different areas of your vision, your execution, your personal mindset, your creativity, your connection, your leadership, people skills, business, financial acumen, and the stress management, okay? Obviously, you don't maybe have all of them, but whatever is relevant and necessary. Great, welcome. So the definitions of them are as follows. So the vision is really your visionary thinking, your strategy, when you think ahead. When you think about opportunities, some of us are better, some not. To think about what is currently the opportunity that we can use. The execution is really to make decisions, to focus, and to produce something efficiently and effectively. Personal growth mindset. It's a little bit what I talked earlier about the proactivity. How do you have a growth mindset? Do you know what the growth mindset is? Compared to a limited mindset. Okay? So the limited mindset is saying there is only one pie and it's limited. And I cannot do other things. I'm really good at this. I cannot do anything else. My resources, my potentials are limited. A growth mindset, and I would assume the majority here of you are, they have basically this idea of I can still learn if I want to. I can adapt. I can grow. So especially as an entrepreneur, it's obviously more helpful if you have that personal growth mindset. Having confidence in yourself, reflecting, and building up resilience, right? Not to give up. Leadership, people skills, it depends if you are now working alone or if you're working with others or managing other people. But how good are you managing others to resolve conflicts, which always exist, and to have emotional intelligence, which, by the way, you probably know this term, but like charisma, it can be learned. It's not only genetics. And this is helpful, obviously, also with client relationships. If you have that emotional intelligence, if you know how to deal with the different clients. And I assume many of you would, because in your job, you're listening and dealing a lot with people. So you probably can have that. And then the business sense. So are you financially literate? Are you good in sales? You know the marketing? Do you know the negotiation, again, about the price? If they tell you, this is our budget, what are you going to say? So this is all your financial part. And then the creativity. Can you come up with new services, new ideas, new ways of doing things? Are you curiosity driven? So these are the things that I would ask you maybe to map now on your wheel. And again, it's just for you to know, and especially to know what your strengths are. Okay? I assume you're doing it while we speak, right? While I speak. No? You can. Any questions regarding the strength? What do you think your strengths are right now? Okay. So the question is, how do you know your strength? How can you self-evaluate? Brief answer is, usually you know it also through a lot of feedback. So it's not enough if I think I'm good at it, but if many people, your peers and your clients tell you you're really good at that point, it's most likely that you have that, right? So the question is just to really focus on what your strengths are, and to answer this question, what am I good at? And what are the skills and competencies I have? And skills and competencies, there are always two, in our opinion. So one is the technical skills in your job, right? And one is the personal skills, the human skills. Again, that goes to are you good with interpersonal? Are you good with negotiation? Are you good with the emotional intelligence? So write down both. What are your technical skills you're good at? And what are your soft skills that you're good at, your human skills? Once you have that, then the next area, and let's go to the growth mindset. Tell me if I go too fast, if you want to still write or not, okay? So I'm really, this is more for me of a workshop than a presentation. The other is then, with the growth mindset, I invite you to think always about, not what I'm weak at, not what I'm bad at, but to think about what is it that I want to improve. So what prevents me to do costly mistakes? How can I build myself up or the right team? How can I accelerate growth? How can I build trust? How can I protect my reputation? And how can I improve on all those things? And earlier we had the discussion a little bit in the second presentation is not that you have to. That's what I tried to explain with my last comment. It's the things you're motivated to do, the motivated that you want to improve. And that you have to define. So here, well, the reason why we ask for weakness here is usually people still think about strengths and weaknesses. You can ask what's your weakness, but the point is to say, what is it that I want to be good at? What is it that I want to improve? What is it that I maybe need to now adapt and learn? And you need to define it, what you want to improve. And so how do you do that? And it goes a little bit to what I said earlier with your superpower. Think about in the past what you have done in difficult situations when you came out of some difficulty. What is it that you used at that point? And I would suggest to use both. One is to challenges. How did you come through challenges? Okay, how did you deal with difficulties? Be it professional, be it personal. And at the same time, also think about when you did a project that went really well, when you talked to a client, when it went really well, when the negotiation and pricing went well, to analyze what did you do. This is what we call a success analysis. So my question is, how many of you, after a project, analyze why it went well? You do that? Okay. That's very good. So that's recommendable. I would suggest that you do that every time. So when it didn't go well, you analyze why it didn't go well. Because when we fail or we do something that didn't go well, when we analyze it, why do we analyze it? I just want to make it clear. Why do we analyze it? To learn. Not repeating it, right? Most people, we don't take the time. But if you make a mistake, that's great. Even make it maybe twice, it's fine. But if you make the same mistake 3 times with the client or technical, that's the problem, right? So in order not to repeat it. And why do you want to do a success analysis? To repeat it. And this is why it's good to ask also the client or the project to give you feedback by saying, well, tell me the reasons why it went well. And if you do it consistently, that's good. You had a question?
Yeah, I get the impression that sometimes you don't even know why. Like,
Sorry, we need to pass the line.
Ah, yeah.
Otherwise, people are like,
Where is the little box?
where is the little box?
It's gone.
Gone?
Okay.
Oh, it's here. It's here.
Oh, it's there, it's there, it's there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Let's throw again.
Take care of the mic.
Yes.
Because I'm here on the...
Yeah, I was just saying that sometimes you don't even know what went wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you're in touch with the client, but you don't get that feedback all the
Yeah.
time. So when that happens, how
Yeah.
can you be,
That's true.
you know, like, how can you analyze what went wrong if you don't even know it?
I know, and that's a difficulty. And we're in a similar situation in business there. When we write projects as well in order to give speeches or help on give trainings or do a retreat, when you don't get a reply, that's the worst. I try always to follow up as nicely as possible to do it, but of course that's a difficulty. Then you have to do it with your own self-reflection. But the best is to get it through the client. Ideally, before you do a proposal, is to say, look, one way or another, I would really like to get your feedback afterwards. So get that commitment before you send the proposal, because that's the best way to learn it.
Oops.
Okay, don't worry.
Too many things on it.
Another question?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you define failure in our
Ah,
field?
yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think that AIC is the crème de la crème, and people who attend PRIMS are probably la crème de la crème de la
Yeah.
crème. So I like to think that most
Yeah.
of my jobs go well because
Yeah.
I have professionals in the booth. So there's no catastrophe
Yeah.
in the meeting. Still, I'm only too aware that there are improvement areas,
Yeah.
and I would like to be able to identify those better,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
describe what is failure by my
No,
standards.
and I appreciate that question. In fact, I would take this word even out. I would not even talk about failures per se. It's whatever doesn't go the right way, it's a learning opportunity.
Okay.
So actually, it's very good you picked that up. That's exactly the mindset to have. Traditionally, people think about, or in general, people will think about weaknesses and failures. Changing the mindset in that is good.
Thank you.
So scrap the failure.
Anybody else?
All right. So I hope you had a moment to think about your strengths and the areas for improvement. And then the next is your USP. So how many of you have defined your USP? No. Okay, okay. What is a USP? No, it's not the stick I'm talking about, right? I mix it up always myself. It's a unique selling point. It's basically what makes you different, how do you stand out? It's why should any client work particularly with you? What's it that makes you different and unique? Okay? And that one you really have to think about. It's not that easy. As you say, I'm pretty sure all of you are very good in interpreting, so why should a client pick you? So in that you have to define. What is it that makes you special? Your personality, your technical skill, or maybe, again, I'm playing now with the things you said. I understand that now in your work it's not only interpretation, but if it's remote, you have to be technical as well, right? It's like us, you know, when COVID started, suddenly one of us is a Zoom master, right? We're facilitators and trainers, we had to learn to be a Zoom master. So one of us in the team actually specialized a little bit in it. And like you said, I think you have the same. Now when we facilitate online, it's super complicated. It's multitasking, right? You have to think, you have to know the process, you have to make the Zoom, you have to read the questions. So that's maybe one USP, that you're good at it. You tell them, look, I'm not only an interpreter, I'm a Zoom master. So you have to think about what makes you different, and that's very important. What attracts the right clients and the clients you want to attract? So it's both ways. Who do you want to work with? So here I really invite you to think a little bit about what makes you different and special, and I think there's a slide to practice it. What makes me special? What's the impression you want to leave? I like that question. When you leave talking to a client, new or old, what do you want them to say about you?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Because I think I see the USP as something you have to have on top of being an excellent interpreter, updated with all your skills in place. We're talking about the non-interpreting skills. This is how I see this.
Yeah. Personality skills, right, as well. Okay. Yes?
I guess what strikes me here and the USP, I believe, for most consultant interpreters, because we're talking about those that are on the coal face, that are dealing with the clients, are negotiating, find themselves in a situation where they have to discuss and answer their tough questions. And I guess what you want the client to take away from any interaction with you is that it's easy and that you've got a solution. You are the solution provider. The client's always right, and people who were there yesterday heard me say that before. The client is always right, and I want to help them make the right decisions. Nice. And I want to be the bearer of solutions. In the end, if he decides that, oh no, he's a dickhead and he's charging too much, etc., that's his choice. But I want to be the bearer of solutions. I don't want to say, yeah, but there is no buts, yes. no ifs, only ands. Yeah. I mean, that's Dale Carnegie 101.
Yeah, but it's wonderful you say that. You know, we talk a lot about it in business sense as well. You said it, I just want to repeat it. There's no but. There's only yes and. Yeah, you agree, and you think, and you say the and because with the and, you have to be constructive, and you think about a solution.
Yeah, my comment relates to what he has just said, because we need to be problem solvers. And related to her comment about failures, I don't think it's failures based on our perspective. We should look in what ways have we failed our customers' expectations, which could be unrealistic and oftentimes do not relate to what we actually do. I see that sometimes unique selling points of interpreters could be things like delivering your invoice in time, following up their procedures on how to upload your invoice in their portals, things that do not make them waste their time. So being problem solvers and easygoing, I think these are some unique selling points that, again, as Livia said, we should do what we do very well. These are just on top of
these
all
on top
that.
Of it, yeah. And just to reiterate, I like what you said. It's for a client, it's important to answer on time. I always love this point about what's professional. You know, when we talk about, teams, when we say, when you give feedback to tell somebody you're professional, it actually doesn't mean anything. So you need to define what it means to be professional in your business. So to be smooth, to be non-confrontational, to agree, to come with solutions, what is it that you bring forward to a client?
I find that tone of voice, credibility of interpretation, calm, and so a voice which makes the client comfortable, trusting the person who tells them what they hear but they don't understand. This was one thing which I found in difficult times, that sometimes clients came back. And the other thing is responding to emails, not too long, not too short, but with kindness, politeness, and warmth and proactive.
Right.
Sort of like not putting them down just because they're assistants or I don't know what. But I think thanking, being grateful is really crucial in an era where communication is emojis and 140
so
letters.
Politeness and respect. Yeah.
Yeah, respect.
Okay.
Yeah, and dignity also.
One more. So basically, I want to invite you to think about it. There's actually two ways when we communicate. And it's a little bit about, because you mentioned a lot the kindness, polite. One is really the delivery, how we say things. That's why I came back to the charisma question earlier. It's how do you say it, which tone, what's your voice, what's your body language. The other thing is the content, what we're saying, right? What we're saying. And the USP is a little bit more the what. The delivery, it's difficult to define that. It's probably your personality. But what is it, your personality, that why somebody wants to work with you? So the USP needs to be a little bit more the what. How you deliver it, it's different. It's more, it's like, okay, you leave the room and they're like a friendly and a kind person. Okay. Is that the cutting edge? So think about your USP. I think there was a question on the Zoom, or was it just a comment? Did you? Somebody following? Is somebody on the Zoom?
No, not a question, sorry.
Okay.
No, not a question. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay. Can you hear us?
I hear. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. No, not a question. It's a comment. It says, sorry, it's a comment. Politeness is very important. Another thing is always tell the truth, even if it may seem to be counterproductive at first sight.
Good.
Okay?
Good. Thank you. So that's the USP. So I invite you to think about it. Maybe it comes easy to some of you, but in my experience, it's really difficult to find it. So the more time you spend really defining of who you are and what's your selling point, that's stronger than when you go and talk to clients. The next thing is the purpose. It's your big why. What motivates you to be independent entrepreneur? What's your why?
Just reflecting on the previous slide, and this is the next one, I guess not only being the solution provider, but actually being knowledgeable and having an answer to provide and explaining why. You were talking about the Zoom wizards. We had to be Zoom wizards. The client comes to you and says, I have a board meeting, how are we going to do it? And you say, I've got this. I know how to run it. I'll send you the invitation, and there's your solution.
They're happy.
And you have to be the one who knows what happens, know the technical backgrounds, the insight, and then use that as your selling point. There's your USP.
Yeah. That's the USP.
Even sending them their microphones.
Yeah.
Shipping microphones around the world, right, Bertold?
You did that, right. And then, so the next one is very important as entrepreneurs, those who become now independent and want to, is like, why are you doing it? What's the purpose? And this is, again, your motivation. And that's the motivation. And motivation, probably you heard it, motivation theory, there are two kinds. There are an extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic is something that is external. You want it for the title, you want it for the money, you want it for the fame. Okay? It can be a motivation if you're working or you want to do it just for the money. Fine. The intrinsic one is really something that is deeper. You're doing it because it's meaningful for you. You feel you're contributing something to society, or you feel you're growing and learning. Okay? So you don't need something external to motivate you. Both are valid. Just be clear why you're doing it. Are you doing it to pay for the kids to go to college? Are you paying it because you really enjoy, and like one of you said it, I don't know if the person's still here, the love declaration for your job? Yeah. So just know your why. Those who know their why, they're stronger, they're more motivated. They get up in the morning happily to do it. So that's the other thing. Please define it. And just to give you, for example, our whys, because I didn't present our company, but this is sort of what we do. It's to make people happy and better performing working in a team. It's really the combination of happiness and performance when we work with teams. Now, this still is valid if we talk with individuals, when we do coaching. We want to make them happier and better performing when they work on the business. It's still valid when we work with organizations, when we are in learning and development. We want people to feel more motivated, as well as bring results. So you have to think about your why. So what is your why? What's driving you? What's your intrinsic or extrinsic motivation? Still about 10 minutes, but I give you a few seconds to maybe think about what's your why. And it's all, by the way, in the booklet, right, on page 3. I think all these questions are there.
I guess, isn't it so that if you enjoy what you do, you usually do it well, and the rewards are just essentially happening by themselves. You don't have to run after the remuneration or the fame or whatever else happens. if you enjoy what you do, you'll do it well. And I mean, we've told our kids that, and they show that it actually struck a chord.
Okay. And the last one as an entrepreneur is basically your confidence, okay? How much do you trust your ability? How much do you know your own fears? How much do you bounce back when there's a setback after a client call, you wrote a big proposal, you know, you're not feeling well. How quickly do you get through that change curve that I said, okay? The change curve is, by the way, also valid if you write a proposal and the client says no, right? You worked on it hard, you wrote a few pages, maybe for 2 weeks, and suddenly there's a no with no explanation. You go through the curve. So you have to also think a little bit about yourself and your confidence. And I think I emphasized that enough, hopefully today, ask when help is needed.
And I guess one of the issues that you may find and that some colleagues may find in the business relationships that we try and create with the end client, hopefully with the end client and not an intermediary, is that all of us are colleagues, all of us run across the same issues, the same difficulties, we help each other when we can, and at the same time, we're each other's worst competitors when time comes. And so whenever I'm asked to submit a tender, and I know I'm participating in a public call for offers, I will be up against colleagues that I've met in this setting or in other settings, and we know that there's the known knowns, the known unknowns, the unknown knowns, etc. I mean, you've all heard that before. And so that makes it even more difficult, because with that depression curve and downsides and then finding your way back up, you know that the people that may be the cause for your denial of an offer could actually be those that you're working with the next day.
Yeah.
And that creates quite a particular relationship within the profession quite sometimes.
And I assume, again, with similar businesses we're in, so this makes it, for me, also more important that you have the interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence skills. Because like you said, you can be competitors, but then at the next day you're collaborators. It's nice to find out, you know, how they did it so they get the project, right? It's nice to share it as well.
That's why you're here.
Okay. One more comment?
Yes, there are two comments from participants online. One says, I love the USP.
Oh, good.
Okay, and the other one says that your pace is perfect and my weakness is technology.
Okay. Again, that's my challenge and one thing I want to improve. I really appreciated the comment there to change the mindset that says, okay, I'm not good at it. Either I want to learn it or, again, I want to delegate it. These are the two choices we have. So here with the confidence, what are my fears? How do I become more confident? Be honest with yourself. Face yourself, put them on the table, and then there's a choice what to do. Okay, so this was the first part, and these are all the questions there that are on your sheet about what are your strengths, improvements, USP. If you don't have it, I'm happy about that comment. Define it. Shouldn't spend too much time on it, but really try to find out what it is. Know your purpose, know your why, and then think about your confidence. So this is entrepreneur. And now the second part, and that's maybe some of the questions went into it with the pricing, etc., is how do I deal with the market? How do I deal with growth? And what are some techniques? So in the 10 minutes that I have, I'll go through them. So the market is, you have to know who is the group, who are you talking to? Are you talking to anybody, or is it a specific sector? Is it a specific industry? Is it specific issues that you're really good at, I guess with your terminologies? Or, because in a sense, in order to do the marketing, you have to know who the market are, who are the people. And are you talking to the CEOs? Are you talking to the HR people? Who is the contact person? So you need to define it as well, right? And what are they looking for? What is their problem? What is their problem, and what's the solution you offer? And then it's the WTP. What's the willingness to pay? What's their willingness to pay? How much, right?
That has
It has evolved massively during COVID, before, during, the willingness to pay. Yeah.
The entire sequence.
Okay.
Talk to, whether it's the willingness to pay. Before, up to COVID, it was normal that we talk to a PA, a personal assistant, a secretary, somebody who was in charge of organizing the flower arrangement and would also book the tables and the restaurants, and then find me some translators. And that was normal. As soon as COVID struck, organizing interpreters became a CEO's business. And the CEOs were the ones, find me a solution now, and money is not an issue. At least that was my experience. Just get a solution, allow us to work together. And now, 3 years, 4 years down the track, we're talking again to people where it gets delegated to, because, again, it's become mainstream. But for as long as it was exceptional, it was CEO business. And when you have major events, big events, leaders, conferences, there you're talking to the highest level of protocol. As soon as it becomes your tech meeting, some side meeting, again, you're talking to different people.
Good.
And you have to adjust your language
exactly.
to the type of people you talk to.
So if you want to define who you're talking to, you have to exactly adjust your language, adjust your marketing, right? So know who the market is, who do you want to reach. And then, where is your market? What do they want to achieve? What kind of clients do you want? And with whom do you need to want to work? So that has to be defined. And then for growth, how do you reach more people? There's always this, are you a farmer or a hunter? You know that for sales, right? So the farmer, you keep the existing clients, you need to take care of them, and a hunter is you get new ones. And again, you're technical, so I assume, like many of us doing the work, that you like the business of doing it. You don't really like to go after it. But in a sense, being an entrepreneur and being independent, you have to think like that a little bit. It's probably easier, and I give the next techniques with the current ones to farm, to keep those that you have. But you need to do work on that too, because otherwise they disappear, right? The question is how you do the hunting as well, and with the new ones. And for that, you need to know the market.
Is this okay? I would like to add a comment here for those of you who were in Lisbon. Do you remember what Antonio said about increasing the size of the pie?
Mm-hmm.
It was we had a lecture on by somebody in the mice industry, and he was suggesting that we increase the size of our pie, and it reminded me of yours.
Yeah, it's the growth mindset too. So here the questions are: how do you nurture and grow the client database that you have? How do you nurture it, the farming, and how do you grow it? How should you approach the clients? What you need to tell them? And what is missing? What's the contact you need? And how can you find new solutions? And some techniques is the RAP. It's the relationship action plan. If you don't have it, it's a very simple tool. You just create an Excel and you write down all the clients that you have, right? Everybody. From CEO to PA and all the names, okay? And then you set up a system, that's where we come to habits again, that you regularly contact them, okay? And you regularly contact them. Literally once a quarter, I would suggest. You have to be somehow in touch with them. Either to say, how are you, etc., that's basic. Ideally, you send them something that they're interested in. The newest trend, an article. So ideally, you sent them something, or you read something and said, I thought about you, okay? So you sent them chocolate. But you need to be in touch with them regularly, at least quarterly. I have a book that I recommend. It's on the last slides. It's called Never Eat Alone. It's an excellent book for networking. So he gives tons of techniques what to do. And for that is, you need to do the networking. He gives, again, in that book, lots of ideas. Never eat alone, as the title suggests. You should go for lunches, meet people, go to conferences. And you need the sales funnel, right? So you have to imagine that you first have to contact 100 people, so 20 will write you back, and 3 of them say, send me a proposal. And this is why the mentality should be not how many sales do I get, but it's how many no's do I want? Your aim should be to get 20 no's, I don't know, a month. 5 no's a week. You don't go for the yeses, because the more no's you get, the more yeses you will get. You don't build up and pitch the perfect pitch once a month, right? You have to do many times so you get better at it too, and that's how you improve as well. So these are some of the techniques. Again, I mentioned the books. So here, the questions to answer are, what is your market? How do you nurture it? And how do you do the networking and the wrap? Who has a wrap like that, an Excel sheet they follow up quickly? Okay. So the term he uses in his book, it's actually called pinging. So you ping people regularly. Because, and by the way, networking, many people start networking when they're here in the change curve, right? When they need somebody, then suddenly they go out. Networking is not done then. Networking is done consistently. So when you need some help and advice, you can contact them, not only when you're in need. Okay? So networking is highly important. So now, by way of closing, this is what I talked about very briefly in the 40 minutes we had. Okay, so think about what your strengths are, strengthen your strengths, realize what are your areas for improvement, the things you want to improve, have definitely a USP. What's your unique selling point when you talk to clients? What's your purpose? Why are you doing it? Why you want to continue your activity, your job or career? And think about how confident you are. Be honest with yourself. What are your fears? What are your anxieties? What do you feel are your weaknesses, to be honest? And then say, okay, it's my weakness. I delegate it. Okay? I don't do the Zoom. I delegate it to a colleague who's better at it. And, or you say, I want to learn it. And then the market, well, check who is your market? Who do you have to talk to? How do you customize your growth? And then have a wrap, do the networking for sure, and think about the funnel by saying you need many, many no's before you get a yes. By way of closing, I would suggest you write 3 things down that you want to do in the next 6 months. From everything you heard, what are only 3 things you want to do? Yes. One more question up there?
I'm really sorry we don't have time for questions. We have to go down for the next group, and the next group is coming up. But I thought we are not going to have enough time to do this, but maybe we could find a way to do it among ourselves, maybe use our Instagram account, or, Anyway, I'm going to post this slide as a reminder, and we can try and continue this.
You can ask me during the break if you want.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
here now you just write down your 3 things. So before we finish, so these are some of the books, right? You're going to get it. So the one thing, that's for negotiation, okay? By the way, just a mini negotiation, when you said it, I did an MBA myself 12 years ago to learn. Again, my background is international relations. One thing that I learned in the negotiation class is you offer first. Don't ask how much you have. You offer first, and it's called anchoring, okay? So that's the quickest tip that I can give for negotiating. Don't wait for the client, give them your fee. Never eat alone, that's the one for networking, getting to yes, startup, and atomic habits I talked about. And then, no, I saved it. Here. 1 second. So here is, we do the wheel, no? Yes. We do the wheel. Many asked for the ADHD, so I put it in the slides. And before we go, so if you want to follow Nexus, that's the company now we work with. This is if you want tips on leadership management, okay? But we just started 10 days ago something called the Nexus Academy. And I thought this might be interesting for you. So if you sign up on that, I have a little prize for you. We start in the fall how to train people how to become facilitators and trainers and team coaches, because facilitation is a skill many people need. What we thought you might be interested in is actually the entrepreneurial journey. So we do business coaching, but we also will start in the winter to do like a program of 4 days, how to be an entrepreneur, when we go into much more detail to what I discussed. And for that, I have 3 little prizes, okay? So first of all, 2 relaxation balls, okay, of Nexus, and 1 hour free business coaching. And that's why you give your names. If you don't want to be on it, let us know. But otherwise, we're going to do these, okay? If you don't want to, you let us know. So the first one gets a ball. Okay. Just turn the wheel. And we throw. I don't know how long that takes. Usually, have you used this one online, by the way? We do it in retreats. Asiel, there you go. That's a relaxation ball. One, perfect. Second relaxation ball. Let's see. Oh, and the idea is obviously if you sign up and follow our academy, that would be great. But there's no condition for it. Anna. Eva. There you go, perfect. And the last one gets the free coaching. And then come to me. And the idea is that you sign up and follow. And who is it? Timothy. Timothy, if you like to, we'll be happy to have 1 hour free coaching, okay? So with that, I leave you, and I see you later again.
Thank you. So you have the next speaker here. That's great. All working well. We'll have a coffee break after this session. Right? Don't leave. Don't leave.
Microphone. I need a microphone, of course. It's on. It's on already? Yes, good. Welcome back. I hope you had a very interesting first workshop. I'm sure you had, because you had Ramin. He's a very great speaker and a very good facilitator. So I hope you will enjoy next workshop as well. We're going to build a little bit further on what we discussed this morning. And it's really, this workshop is really an invitation to you to think about what you want to challenge yourself with. There's no need to change if you don't want to, but maybe you feel invited to think a little bit about, do I see a gap somewhere? Do I see, get I different requests from customers that I feel like, hey, they've never asked this of me before, and now they do. And what does that mean for me? Is that something I can already do? Is it something I have difficulty with and want to change that or want to develop myself in that area? So the workshop really today is about making yourself think about what you can, just the open invitation, and how can I actually develop that if I feel a need. If I don't feel a need, that's also fine. Okay? So what was the main highlight you remember from this morning's workshop or presentation? Anybody? Does anybody want to reflect a little bit? What was your main insight you take away from this morning? Nobody?
I don't remember how you phrased it exactly, but it was you don't start from scratch. You're rebuilding or reshaping or transforming.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. It's not like you're reinventing yourself. You're just building on. Good. Well, you all have this little booklet. And in the back of the booklet, you will see a template for an action plan. And we're going to use these different topics for a little bit of discussion among ourselves. And some of it will be discussed plenary, and in the end we will write down a concrete action plan. And you can use this template for that if you want. Okay? So it's really from skills to strategy and then designing that career path. And basically it's also feel inspired by each other, because sometimes we feel like, I don't know what I don't know. And then you hear somebody else says something and you feel like, hey, that also applies to me. Or yes, I had the same kind of question and I didn't know what to do with it. Or yes, I'm also very good at that and I can use that, I can develop that further to make it a really expertise of myself. So that's where you really feel invited. So here it is again. Careers aren't chosen, they're built. So what I would like you to do is in groups of 5, and maybe you can just join seats with each other, in maybe 4, see what you can find each other, to determine what do I already know very well? What am I good at? What is my forte, if you will? And discuss it with each other. And then also, where have I received positive feedback? What am I proud of? I received myself a very nice review from a customer in coaching that I really felt silent about. I had something like, wow. You have those moments too. You probably received some very proud moments in your career. What is that, if you want to pick one? So please join in a little group, 4 or 5 people, and discuss that among yourselves. And remember later on to fill it out also in the template, but I will also ask you to share some of it in plenary. 5 minutes, please. So please, if you 2 ladies can come down, yeah? Dankjewel. Ja, dank je.
You can put the, oh no, no, they are okay. No, no, no. Oh, okay.
No, this is the technician.
And we're all very
And this Maria will put here. Because this one is
Oh yeah,
the technician as well.
But you need to, yeah, and then you move it to, yeah.
To room 2. And this one,
Then you can just leave it.
salon principal. Ah, okay.
You need to make Neude co-host. Just leave it. Otherwise he gets all confused. I would just leave
Okay.
it. What I would do is make him co-host in the participants list. So you, when you make rooms, he doesn't in the list. Do you understand what I mean?
But he's a oh no. No era. El otro sí.
Was something with returning to the main session or something in the screen? And then it
The chat, the breakout room.
Chat, so that's nothing to do with audio.
yeah, but then when it returned, it was muted. So yeah,
That's maybe because it's, no.
might be a setting or something. I don't know, but I'll keep it in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have you been able to discuss amongst each other one proud moment, one thing you're really doing well? Does anybody want to share? Where's the box? Here. Anybody wants to share? What's your proudest moment? Come on. Yes.
I tried my best. So like I've been in the market for just 3 years, and a couple of weeks ago, I got to work with this very experienced interpreter. She was about to retire, and I was just shaking before it started. I was like, oh my God, like someone who has been working for years and years is just gonna listen to me, And then we worked together, and I said nothing, I was just listening, taking notes, learning. And then at the end, she was like, I like you. Give me your CV. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this really happening? So I realized that, even though I was paralyzed from that, I don't know, a scary perspective that I have of older colleagues, they're human as well in the end.
That's lovely.
And that was it was touching,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of my proudest moments.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Well done. Anybody else wants to share something you're really proud? Yes? Good.
Yeah, I got the cube. So we didn't talk about it here, but I really like to feel that I'm a very reliable colleague. People trust me in problem solving, in dealing well with people and equipment. I try to know as much as I can technology, especially even if it's a new one, I'm going to get to know it before I use it, and not when I get there and start, what should I do?
And working well with people has to do with what you said. We are humans. We work with humans, not only interpreters, but technicians and clients. And so paying attention to that makes me get this feedback. I know I can trust Fernanda to do something for me, work in the booth and things like that.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Yes, please.
Because I wanted to do something. Okay, this is my first experience with the tube, the cube.
That's the first time for everything.
Okay, so my proudest moment was, I do many things at the same time. I have like many careers. I'm a stage rigger, I'm an interpreter, I am a singer also. And a lot of my life is dedicated to actually singing in choirs and ensembles. It's a huge part of my life. And those people don't know me as an interpreter. They're my close friends. Singing together really brings you close together. And at some point, I got a gig that was a choir gig. It was a pan-Canadian choral conference, and it was in Montreal. And obviously, the association knew me from before, and somebody told them that I was also an interpreter. And that was last year. And so I was like, great, I'm going to do this conference. I'm going to blow your mind. I know everything about choirs, and I know everybody in the room. So it was exhilarating because for the first time, some of my worlds collided, and that is really amazing to have my friends listen to me and discover for the first time that I have another life, and my friends actually saying to me, wow, that was amazing, I really loved it, I listened to you the whole time, even if I understand the other language, and I just was really happy to receive a lot of love from people I actually knew, because usually our clients are people we don't know and they don't care about us. We're hidden in a booth and whatever. So that was really fun for me.
Sorry.
Who?
Yeah. Okay. Hold that thought, also for your template later on. The one slide that was missing this morning, which was in the presentation but didn't come out, I had a little bit of struggle with my technique this morning, was this. These are considered to be transferable skills. And there's, of course, a whole additional list of transferable skills, but this way you can think about it. So also that you realize, also for the T-shaped model, the skill profile, here are predominantly skills that are on the horizontal bar of the T-skill profile. So cognitive is memory, analysis, synthesis. Interpersonal is active listening. I've heard somebody say that they were really good listeners, so that's, I guess, in your profession also really relevant, in mine as well, as a coach. Digital is platform fluency, the technique you're just referring to make sure that you can handle it and you prepare yourself, being that solid rock that you described yourself to be. And then creative, storytelling, visual thinking. These are things that are really transferable skills on the horizontal bar of the T-shaped profile. And then leadership, facilitation, feedback. I mean, you just gave a perfect example of leadership that people say, we listen to you all the time. And it's really great to hear you speak those words and make the two worlds collide. So that was really a good way of saying, okay, that was leadership, really, to get the people together and to bind them. So this is what I wanted to share with you also, to give you a bit of idea of how to use the T-shaped formula. So for the next exercise, please stay in your group and please discuss, where do you see the demand growing? It can be in your own profession. It can be that you get a question like, different from previous questions, different from different clients, that you feel like, hey, these clients are always asking me to do this, but this client is new and I have a completely different requirement from this client. How do I feel about that? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel like, oh my dear, how am I going to do this? Do I need to develop that? Or do I feel like, no, if I get those kind of requests, I'm going to deny them. That's not for me. So please think about where you see the demand growing in your profession, and what new roles or opportunities are emerging. So you feel like, if I do a little bit more of this, then I can get more work. Or if I do a little bit more of that, then I'm even more professional in my role than I was before. Can you please discuss that among yourselves? And then later on again, fill it in your template, but also I will come back to you to share some examples. 5 minutes, please.
The slides that you showed in between exercises.
It was gone from the presentation Fed I also had, so there must have been something wrong because I took the presentation which I sent and it was there. And then there was another slide missing as well, and we added that, but I'll send you the new one, and then it's all there, hopefully. Okay. Have we all pretty much discussed what we want to discuss with each other? Not yet? Need a minute more? Yes? One more minute? Okay. Okay. Who would like to share some of the things you see in the market? Yes. Where's the little box? It was. Does anybody have the cube? Oh, here.
Was there a hand? Yay! All right. Who was first? Who was first? You haven't been yet, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, I would like to share something that I heard actually from my classmate who works for a tech company as a staff interpreter. There are more demand to design an internal product for simultaneous interpreting, and they are building their own like terminology data or data. What is that? Yeah, the data point. And then she was required to kind of combine her language skills with the algorithm to develop a more efficient product for their own internal meetings because there are many thousands of meetings per day for a huge company like ByteDance. So their internal staff interpreters cannot meet such a huge demand. That's why they're transitioning more to a half human, half machine interpretation. Now they are doing some trials, but it looks like that knowing some computer languages are more and more important, especially in high-tech industries.
Thank you for that. It's very interesting. Does anybody recognize that? No? Yeah. Yes? Okay.
But as you said, she's like a staff interpreter. I've had a situation when I worked for a company that had many meetings. And what I felt is that when they decided to move to not hire interpretation anymore for their internal meetings and just putting speech to text or just putting closed caption, the employees did not have a say on it, whether it was good or not. They were employees. So I think it's a different power relationship of those cases when compared to private market relationships when we have our clients and they have their customers and they want to please their customers. So I think that there's also this difference in choosing the services that they're going to have.
Thank you. Great addition. Anybody else wants to share?
Back to the cube, addicted to the cube.
Feels good, huh?
Yeah, it feels great. So I just want to share something because my colleague seems surprised by it, so maybe it's share-worthy. The outlook in Canada, where I'm from, the outlook for conference interpreters for the profession is apparently excellent for the next 10 years when you consult the market trends. There's a study that's been done in Canada. I'm sure that everyone's country has a job outlook study. And at the same time, I feel that my colleagues and I share the opinion that the market isn't growing. And so maybe the market is growing somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we don't know where because we feel that it's shrinking. So something's up, and maybe we should think about that.
Yes.
Maybe it's the gray market. Maybe it's very weird, this discrepancy.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Yes. Well, that's a very good addition also, because it shares actually what we're talking about all the time. Sometimes we don't realize that something is expanding or moving into a different direction. We feel like, hey, have I missed that exit, or have I missed the bus in that sense? And what's happening, and how can I catch up again? Thank you. Okay. Does the T-shaped profile model requires any further explanation for you if you want to use it properly in designing your career? Maybe additions, path, changes, adjustments. Is it clear enough for you? Because I explained it somewhat in the morning. The transferable skills I showed just earlier in the little table, those are the skills that are on the horizontal bar. And you can add to them. I mean, there's no distinction between what should be a bigger bar. There's the horizontal bar or the vertical bar is your expertise as linguistic experts, as people who can relate to certain cultures so that they can really make a good interpretation of what people might want to say. Those are very deep expertise things. Those belong to the vertical bar. But the transferable skills that I showed there, and that's also something maybe that you were just mentioning, we think the market is shrinking, and actually the states say it's expanding. So what do we need maybe to actually set in that bar, which we may want to develop, which we may need to develop, which we may want to show more if we already have it, or is there a gap? To fill it in there, to really get a good grasp of who you are. Where does your talent sit? What do you like? I mean, it can also be that you discover the market is moving over there, but that's not particularly an area I like, so I stick with my market and I'm happy with that. It can also be that you're excited and that you're challenged by it and you feel like, hey, that's interesting. Like the example you gave with a whole new approach towards your role in that sense. That can also be a challenge that you feel like, I feel inspired and I move more into that direction. Do you need any further explanation on that? No? Good. Then, and please stay in the same group, and make sure that you all get to say a word if you want. What is still lacking in your own view? Do you lack something? And if you don't have that feeling, you don't need to make something up. I mean, but it can also be that you feel like, yes, I see this growing demand, I don't really have that skill yet. Or I see this and I never had that skill and I want to develop it more. So is there a lack? And if so, what is it? And what hidden skill have you used? In the previous group, there was an interpreter who was very much involved in recruiting interpreters for an African country, which he had never done before, but she was actually very good at, and then trained them to be real professional interpreters for that particular country. And that's a whole new skill, actually, she developed, and she noticed by herself, well, hey, I can do that. I'm good at it. And she enjoyed it. So that can also have what's hidden within you. Please take 10 minutes. Okay, being respectful of the time, I would like you to write down in your template the gap you're missing. And maybe you got inspired by somebody in your group that you feel like, oh, actually that skill is also lacking for me. Let me put that down as well, so that you can really get a good grip of who you are, what you can do, where your strength is, what you're proud of, but also what you may still need to develop to get up to speed with developments, but also maybe to get up to speed with your own desire in terms of development needs. Okay? Then one last action point. And it says 15 minutes, but I have to ask you to keep it to 5. I'm sorry about that. It goes too quickly. If you would kindly design an action for yourself about that particular skill you're lacking. What do I like to develop the coming period? And which would help me create this career path in terms of maybe being able to more facilitate during those experimental types of interpretation roles, or maybe do something completely different, or maybe do less. Did you feel like, okay, I lack that skill and I don't really like it either, so I'm not going to focus on that, I'm going to focus on what I'm good at, and focus there with my customers and how I fill in my role. So if you like it to take a few moments to fill out the last bit of the template, which is your action plan, and think about also what Ramin said, who can I ask for help? Who can I turn to for advice? Who will criticize me maybe for my thinking, but also who will cheer me on, that I feel like, yay, I feel inspired, and get a good grip of where you're headed. Put a timeline to it. And like I said in the previous group as well, it's not carved in stone. If you really feel like, okay, this was what I was thinking now, but next week I'm actually thinking something different, or I'm in an assignment and I get a completely different view on things, change it. But this helps you to go through these steps to what I said in earlier this morning. Invite yourself to really sit back and reflect on where you are and where you need to be headed in terms of changing markets, in terms of changing environments, in terms of your own maybe changes. So please take a few moments to write that down, if you will. Thank you. And the questions here might be helpful in terms of designing that. What motivates me? What do I already do well? Where are my talents? What do I want to develop? Your gap analysis. And where is the world heading? We all wonder, I think, at the moment. May I invite, for instance, you to share with me what did you write down? Did you write anything down?
So we were discussing the skill of how to use AI efficiently when it comes to preparing for an assignment, because I recently followed a webinar about which tools there are on the market which can help you to prepare more efficiently for an assignment. And this is a skill I feel like I'm still lacking. So in the next 3 to 6 months, I really want to focus on that and try to figure out what kind of tools are there on the market and how can I use them.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for that. Anybody else would like to share? Let me see. We haven't heard this group either yet. Would you like to share something? What did you write down in terms of your...
Hello. Well, for me, I really need to develop my technical skills and just find out if I want to go into remote simultaneous interpreting, because it's something I don't really like.
Exactly, and that will also be the case that you feel like, I don't really like this. I feel the need, I have to. It kind of scares me.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Well, it's good to realize also the coming time, do I really like it? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I want to find out.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to say that I noted down exactly the same thing. I need to really work on my technical skills.
Yeah. And also that doesn't appeal to you very much?
Not at all.
A message to everybody who wants to work on their technical skills. We have the technical work stream at AIC, and we're very happy to be a point of contact to whoever has questions.
Excellent. That's an open invitation.
Yes.
Good.
And, well, for open invitation, there are interpreting practice groups. Amerivox is one of them. I'm one of the admin members. So feel free to join us, and you can learn a lot about RSI and our practices. Amerivox, interpreting practice group.
Excellent.
It's online, totally online since 2020.
Perfect. Well, thank you
and
all.
It's free of charge, by the way. Everyone is a voluntary.
Oh, that's great.
A volunteer, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you also for your time and for your effort and for your enthusiasm to really cooperate and participate in this workshop. So thank you. A big round of applause for yourselves.
Thank you very much, Saskia. So you're invited for coffee and tea downstairs in the cafeteria where we were, just one stairs down below here, and then we'll start again at 35. And please come back to this room. Yeah, this is your room. Yeah, okay. Yes, 4:35, 16:35. Thank you.
The world is nothing and gone in every form.
have been talking blues and things like concertos for drums. But right now, all around us, and so compelling you never miss the fact there's no melody, is a music that is all beats.
Well,
No, adesso facciamo le AI. Sì. Sì, qua, sì, sì. No, non è plenaria ancora.
Yeah.
Okay, check.
It's going to take a while.
So once we finish, I'll just make a sound in any case. When these people come in and you'll have time, we can lift it. Okay, that's good.
All right. Oh. All right. Are you ready for the last session of the afternoon? How many of you were there yesterday afternoon in the seminar? Okay, a few. Because many of the conversations ended up turning around AI. And we're here with Magda, our colleague from the Science Hub. How many of you know about the Science Hub? Oh, okay, so not that many. So the Science Hub was created about a year and a half ago, and it's composed of several work streams. So in the work streams, they're Science Hub work streams. So as the name indicates, they're composed of scientists or people who have proficient and master the different work streams that they're working in. So one of those work streams is AI, artificial intelligence, and all these scientists, including Magda here with us today, are producing amazing tools for AIC members. And we thought that AI, also from the surveys that we sent you, was one of the topics that AIC members were really interested about knowing more. And then we saw that yesterday at the seminar again. There were so many questions yesterday that specifically, so many people yesterday is specifically asking, so how do I approach a client? How do I approach the AI conversation? So Magda's here today to give us the answer to all of that. And this is I've heard this workshop twice, and I can tell you, I guarantee that she has all the answers for you. So welcome, Magda. Thank you very much for being with us today.
thank you. No expectations at all. Okay, so this is the third time I do this in 45 minutes. It usually is a 4-hour seminar. So we'll see how this goes. I also got the tip that I need to to come further down so we can have a real conversation. So while I just take a minute to say who I am, please just come down a bit. So to make sure that in the middle and up here, all seats are filled. Bertolt will have to come to the middle too, and everybody who's sitting too far away. Thank you. Yeah, come a bit closer. It's gonna be nicer if we're all here together, because this is the special workshop, because here we are among ourselves, so we can have a conversation. Thank you so much. So if you don't know me, I'm just gonna say 3 or 4 things so you know who's talking to you. I'm Magda, I live in Germany. I have an agency I do project management for. I'm an interpreter as well for German, English, and Spanish. And I have, that's okay, and I have 2 kids, so I'm also a mom. And I do this all. And then I thought, oh, I have so much time left. I should also volunteer. And so I became a member of the AI workstream. The reason behind that has a little story, and that is that I was so curious about RSI before our clients were interested in, so before COVID. And once the pandemic hit, it was a very comfortable situation for me because I already knew how to do it. And so when all this buzz came up about AI, I decided for myself that I wanted to do the same thing and just get more information about it and be up to date. So I became a member for very selfish reasons, just so I could learn more about it. And I can tell you that the more I've learned about it, the less I'm worried. So maybe that gives us a relaxing start into this session. So I also need to know a bit who I'm speaking to, because this is about speaking to clients about AI. And when I say AI, I'm not referring to Kai tools. We won't need the microphone, but thank you, maybe later. This is about AI possibly replacing human interpreters. So, who are your clients? Who hires you? You can raise your hand, or if you're feeling tired, you can also stand up and make this a physical exercise. And if there are several that apply to you, just raise your hand multiple times. So the first question is, who hires you as an interpreter? Is it other interpreters? Yes, many of us. Is it agencies not run by interpreters? This usually depends also a bit on the market. And is it end clients or direct clients with a language service? So the people who talk to you know what interpreting is. This can be organizations, companies, okay. What about direct clients without a language service? So you talk to the secretary, maybe a manager. Okay, perfect. Now I know what kind of clients you have. Now I want to know how you feel about AI. So there are 3 answers. If you are in between 2, you can raise your hand twice, okay? How do you feel about AI? Are you very relaxed? You feel safe? You don't worry about it at all? Okay. The second one is, do you have a certain sense of uncertainty, maybe curiosity? Who would say that? Okay, I think that's most of you. Is anybody starting to panic? Already taking notes for the career change? Okay. So 2 days ago, it was my last assignment before the summer break, and I learned from that keynote speaker that if you are on the very safe side or the panicky side, you don't do anything. You're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, or you're too comfortable, be it in your marriage or, with your children or whatever. But if you're just in that middle where you have a certain sense of uncertainty or you feel a bit uneasy and you're also curious, that's the perfect motivator for you to do something. So this is the perfect ground for this workshop and also for anything you want to do with AI or instead of AI afterwards. Now, to make sure that I don't repeat myself, the last question is about the AI tools, and please be honest. I just want to know what I need to explain or not explain. So there have been several tools produced by the AI workstream with the help of other interpreters, right, Bertolt? With the help of language service providers, of technical experts, legal experts. We've had many conversations with them. And then, of course, reading up on all kinds of materials. Now, there is the landscape. I don't know if you've seen it. Maybe you can raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about, at least. Okay, so we've noticed that the landscape is a little bit like the unpopular sister. She has all the knowledge, but she's not so comfortable to talk to, so people tend to ignore the landscape. But if you want to learn more about AI and interpreting, this really has it all. So if you are not sure how to use it, you don't know how to enlarge the Miro page to see it better, there is a podcast on how to use the landscape properly. And it's also on how to use the decision tree, which is what you can see here on the screen. And if Bertolt can come up for 1 second, you can also see it on his T-shirt, because Bertolt was one of the first in Lima to actually get it on a T-shirt. Okay, so who has heard about the decision tree or worked with it? Not so many. So we'll have a quick look in just a moment, and then we'll dive right in to the new tool. The new tool has been developed over the past few weeks, and the reason why we developed it was because everybody wanted to send this tool here to their clients. Now, you can tell this is quite busy. You need time to look at that. Your clients don't have time. So this is not something you'd send to your client. This is something you look at your own time. You click on the links, you decide what applies to your market or to your region, and then you pick the right arguments for each client, and then you have a conversation with your client, and you can inform them based on knowledge. But because all of you, or many, wanted to send this to their client, we also came up with that new thing, and internally we call it the AI client checklist. It doesn't have the word client in it officially, but this one, if you want, you can send out, and I'll hand it out, or someone else will, in a moment. Not yet. Not yet, because then everybody is just focused on the checklist. Okay, so have you heard about the checklist? Yes, some, especially AB members have. But other than that, you're the first ones to see it. It was printed 2 days ago. I brought it with me here. No, not even the AB got a printout. So that is the special premiere here today. Yes, no, because I was the master of the printouts, and I brought them here with me. So nobody could have them first. All right, so now you know what tools we have, and I just quickly want to show you how the decision tree works, but I don't want to go into all the details because I have something else planned for you, which is way more fun. Maybe you can have another look at home. If you don't know where to find it, just go to aic.org to the resources section. If you can access a tool without logging in, it's a public tool, and you can share it with everybody you want. I suggest not to share the tree with clients. I suggest you share it with other interpreters. They don't have to be AIC members. For now, only the landscape is for AIC members only. So if you have to log in to access a tool, it's only for you. Okay, so the way it works, it starts with that question up here in the gray to find out whether AST, automated speech translation, is an option for your event. The reason why we call it AST is because we think it's not interpreting, okay? Translators have said it's not translation either, and they are right. But it's a term, we didn't come up with it, it's a term, and it just says that it's speech to text, so transcription, then it's text-to-text machine translation, and then it's text-to-speech transmission. Okay, that's how it works for now. They are working on developing a tool that can do speech to speech, but this is what's on the market right now. So this is why here we are using AST. Now, you have the blue bubbles, and in blue you'll find the different questions you can ask your clients. If you ask them all of those questions, they'll probably hang up on you. So you have to find the right ones. And the first one here, I mean, this is really the question. There are maybe 2 or 3 the questions, but this one is, how important is your event? I mean, is the president coming? Is the existence of your company depending on it? Well, then you move easily to that red box on the side with the explanation why AST is not reliable enough for that kind of event. But maybe the client says, no, it's that trade fair and people come and go and we don't really care if they understand what we are saying. Then yes, maybe you get to another question. You can also answer these questions for yourself before talking to your client, and that will help you to find the right arguments. Now, if someone actually can go through all the questions, be it you in your head, about the kind of event, so what kind of languages, what kind of setting, will it be interactive, or scripted speeches by single speakers only, or the questions on technical aspects, so power supply, internet connection. In some countries, that is one of the most important arguments. In other countries, it's not. But also legal aspects, like confidentiality of data. Are you allowed to use AI? Depending on the region you're in. And in the decision tree, as you can see, you have all those links. You have links to the different laws that may apply. You have links to examples of terms and conditions of tools. You have the cross-language comparison, only for European languages, but it's a really cool tool. You can click on it, and then you can choose different languages and see if they are high resource or low resource languages. So a high resource language, for example, I mean, the high resource language is English. And then you have very common, mostly European languages that have a lot of written online resources. Because remember the 3-step process, you have the written resources in the middle. So that's what you need for the tool to be fed with. And you also have R&D investments for those languages. So now you can hand them out. Now, to make this more accessible, what we've done is basically put that same idea of the legal aspects, technical aspects, and type of event for the checklist, but in client language and easier to digest, maybe. And Bero, could you also share this one? And maybe you can even share the checklist as a file, so people online can also download it. You'll have it, and I would now like to invite you, even if you haven't got the checklist yet, you can still think of what I'm going to say now. Think of the last event you interpreted at. Okay? Do you have your event? Yes? Over here, do you have the last event you interpreted at in your head? Yeah? Think of it. And now I would like you to go through the checklist. I'm going to walk you through it and decide. You can make an actual check mark if you want. Decide what points apply to this event. Okay? So the first one is basic understanding of the content. Oh, we can actually have more light if you want to. We have it all as a printout. So if we could have more light, I think that would be good. We don't need... Can we have more light? It's not important. If we don't see the screen, we have it on paper. Yeah, if possible. Yes, that would be great. Thank you. So I'm just going to close this here. We still have it on the Zoom, but then we can have some more light in here. Okay. So basic understanding of the content is sufficient for this event. I don't know if you've heard of the WHO study. They tested Wordly, and on average, it got 50% of the content. So when we say basic understanding, we mean about that. Is it enough if people understand about 50% of what you are saying? And then we have the explanation below. AST produces inaccuracies that could result in misunderstandings or reputational damage. Also in that same study, this is good, there was one deal breaker, and the deal breaker was reputational damage. I'm just going to wait a moment until this is up. Yeah? Okay. So every time the tool ridiculed the speaker or the organization, they decided, okay, that's a no-go. It's not acceptable. And they wanted to achieve about 75% of the content, and in some cases it got to 75%. Yeah, I think it was one, but it got there. English, French, I think, was it? Yes, but still one reputational damage in each speech. So it could be due to gender bias. The doctor so-and-so, the chair, was always referred to as a male, even though she's a woman. And names of countries were mispronounced into something ridiculous. So that is why this question, how important is it, is so important. Second one, our event does not include panel discussions or interactive exchanges. Think of your event, the one you last interpreted at. Were there no panel discussions or not a lot of Q&A, then you can check this box. And the reason here is that, for one, AST has a very delayed timing. So sometimes the panel discussion is long over, people are having coffee, and the AI is still interpreting. It can also be confusing for these tools to have different speakers who's saying what, diarization. I have a transcription tool that does that easily, but it takes a few seconds or even minutes to do that. And not everything AI can do can be done on the spot. So the AST tools for interpretation cannot do everything that any AI tool can do. It needs to be quicker, okay? And the other point here is, of course, human dynamics. So the AI doesn't understand that this is the boss and this is the trainee and that's the trade union, and this is why when they say, this is just great, they don't mean it, yes? So the context is missing. I used to be a trainer for interpreting students, and I feel like I need to tell the AI, you need to do this, you need to do that. So really, it's a different product. Next one. We will use common languages paired with English. So that's the high resource, low resource. Yes, if that was an English-French assignment, you can check the box. If it was Ukrainian, Portuguese, no. We can ensure high audio quality and clear speech. Because when the AI hears naughty countries, then it's going to say naughty countries, not Nordic countries. It's not going to leave it out because it's weird, it's just going to say it. If it's the most likely phrase, then it's going to say it. I don't want to give in to AI bashing too much, but it's too much fun to leave it out. So, next one. We will have a stable internet connection and reliable power supply. No sensitive data will be shared during the event. And the last one, you can just imagine if this would have been possible for your client. We have a liability disclaimer and the participants consent for AI use. That actually depends on where you are in the world. They may not need to have that, but in some parts of the world they do. So now I would like to know from you who could check all the boxes, because then you may be replaced. Okay, that's not surprising because it has not happened so far. So, was there anybody who could check almost all the boxes? Maybe half of the boxes. Okay, we have some with half. Maybe any box? Yes, okay. So sometimes we can check, let's say, all boxes except for one. But that one box may be such a deal breaker, like confidential data or high-ranking event, that it's enough to have that one argument. You don't need to have many arguments, you just need to have the right ones. So in this exercise, I now want you to think of the most important argument for this event and this client. You can circle it or mark it somehow. So let's just see how many of you decided that the importance or high ranking of the event was the deal breaker. Who decided that's sensitive data? Okay, you can see that it's quite a lot. Any other important argument which was a deal breaker? And now we need the, yes, thank you.
Well, content was very important because it was very specific, sort of Afro-Brazilian deities. And if you didn't have any kind of knowledge about that, you'd completely miss it out. So it was like African words that are common in Brazil in the context. So they would have missed it out, I think.
So a mixture of cultural references, which is something you find in the tree, and also low resource language, because that's part of it.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other arguments that were deal breakers for you? Over here, I see someone.
In this particular event I was thinking of, it was basically a panel discussion. So that would be definitely a deal breaker. And I remember that some people had terrible internet connection and obviously terrible audio.
Perfect. So some people say, oh, but we want good internet connection as well if it's RSI. We need that too. Yes. But if you have bad sound or if someone has a bad connection, you can still, if it's at all possible to interpret, you can still make the best of it without saying ridiculous things. Or you can decide, I don't hear enough. But at least you won't produce BS. So I would actually love for one person to come and join me up here and present their event as a client request. So I know that interpreters are usually not so shy. In the first two groups, there were volunteers, so I'm hoping for this group to have a volunteer as well, who'd be willing to join me here. Yes, but I mean, it's just among us, and it's just the idea that when we ask you about the event, you just explain what the event is about. You don't have to act like an actress. You can just, when we asked, first volunteer is coming, and we'll probably have time for a second round. So, perfect. Have a seat.
Thank you.
So, let's imagine that this is our client, and maybe you can come with the request just briefly explaining. We have had excellent actors in the first group, but then almost no time for questions. So, you can do what is fun to do, but don't overdo it.
Okay, we have.
Is the microphone on?
Yeah.
It should be on. He just had it.
Okay, we have an annual event. We are a major international corporation, and it's an event honoring our top salespeople. We will have 12 languages, including some less common languages like Ukrainian, Korean, Thai, what else?
Take notes.
Languages, Spanish, French. It's an international corporation. We sell all over the world. We have 12 booths. And we have participants from several countries. They are our top salespeople. And we are going to have our CEO participating and the different presidents, regional presidents.
I'm just going to interrupt here.
Yep.
You have a second checklist. So while you're listening, see what information you got already. We have 12 languages. We have top sales staff, and the CEO is also coming. If you want, you can also ask a question. We have the microphone. So if you have a question to this client, you can also ask. But I feel that you have more to say. Or do you want to wait for the questions?
The CEO is coming. The regional presidents and vice presidents will be coming to present the awards. There will be a business session where we will share sensitive information about our operations and our financial results for the year. And there will be a gala dinner where these awards will be presented.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you here because you're already giving all the answers. Let's see if there's a question.
I was going to ask about the venue. Where is it taking place? Is it fully in person or hybrid?
It is fully in person. It's taking place at a hotel in Westchester County in New York.
Any more questions?
And with a side event, the business session at our headquarters.
Any more questions? We're all
where
together.
We don't have space for the interpreters.
Okay.
The interpreters will remain at the hotel.
No, you want to use AI. You were asking us if you can use AI. So don't worry about the space.
I was going to ask, and what do you expect of us?
I'm sorry?
What do you expect of us?
I expect your system to produce the interpretation for all 12 languages. And we expect our business session particularly to be very precise, because we will discuss our results with our top salespeople.
Thank you very much. Can we have an applause for our client? And just stay here for one more second. Who could advise the client why he should or should not use AI? Think of the most important arguments or several ones. You don't have to act, you can just say what the arguments are. And we are working as a team. So if you have one, you say the first one, and then someone else can add to that.
Our company's top leadership being at the venue?
Yes, it's important. Who else?
Data security.
Yes, that was also in there. What else?
Languages that do not have the resources?
Yes.
Well, the last sentence, lots of content and results.
Yes, okay. So he stands to lose a lot, and he wants a good service, and trust me, only we can provide this service. So we don't worry about this client. We'll hear you as the second client, and then we'll see if you'll make it more difficult for us. Thank you so much. So we'll have this round, and then we'll actually have a few minutes for questions and answers. Okay, ask your question first.
Silly question, but why should this type of clients contact us if they have already made up their mind about using AI? Why should they come to us?
A very good question. So we are lucky if they contact us. We need to make sure that we, as the experts, are the one at the table with our clients, with decision makers. I mean, they cannot always hear the flaws of AI interpretation. It sounds pretty good to them. So we need to inform whoever we can inform. Our agencies that book us, the technical equipment providers, they are the ones who will get the requests from the clients because they are the tech guys, so they don't come to the interpreters. But if you have an agency, you'll also get those requests. So I never get them with the email of the AIC directory, but I do get them through my agency. And I try to be not defensive. I try to be very open. And when they say, do you also offer AI? I usually say, sure, let's hear what this is about. What do you want to do? And then we can see if that's an option. And then I walk them through it.
Okay, this is a real case.
Perfect.
I failed.
Make notes. You will have to advise this client.
Okay, so we've worked for so many years, and I was very happy about your services. Now, I've got another project. It's a 6 days training course, a training seminar. We have 2 psychotherapists from the US. The audience is going to be like between 60 and 80 therapists, Italian therapists. So it's 6 days, 6 hours a day. But you know, this time I don't have the budget. So how about having one of these new systems, AI?
Okay, I'm so glad you're asking me about that. I'm actually very curious about AI. So there are certain factors that I would need to know and check, and then we can see if that's an option for you.
Okay.
Okay? So go ahead with your questions. We are all in this together. Can we have the microphone again?
Yeah, sorry.
So first question, what do you want to know from our client? We already know it's on site, right?
It's on site.
We already know it's on site, English, Italian.
I mean, it's the speakers will be in Italy, the trainers, and part of the audience will be on site, and part of the audience will be remote.
Okay, use the checklist. What do you want to know?
How confidential?
We have one here with a microphone, please. Oh, Bertold, you have the microphone already. Okay, then you are next. Sorry, I didn't see that.
How confidential is that conversation going to be? And will, for instance, be individual cases be discussed, which would, of course, involve the confidentiality that psychotherapists should actually always
Do you mean
practice.
patient?
Yes, patient-specific information or client-specific information.
High confidential.
Okay.
That's a good argument.
Well, I suppose if this is a training session, basic understanding of the content is not enough, right?
No, must be very accurate.
Okay.
But I don't have money.
That's okay. We'll deal with that later.
Will the speaker also do like a group therapy to their trainees?
No.
More questions?
How interactive do you believe these sessions are going to be?
It's not going to be interactive. It's going to be one direction only.
Will the presenters have pre-prepared content, or will it be?
Yes, of course they know what they're going to talk about. They have, you know, everything has been well prepared, but they will speak off the cuff without reading a script.
Okay. Have you checked the quality of the internet speed at the venue?
No, because I don't know what the venue will be yet.
How about the latest power outage in some European countries?
Well, I don't know. Yes, we had a couple of a blackout for a couple of minutes, but that's not important if you save a lot of money.
I'm kind of sorry, but I'm kind of struggling with the keyword common language, you know, in the checklist, because I feel like we shouldn't be using common languages as a justification for not being able to, you know, provide AI. Because I mean, all languages should be considered equal. So I feel like a client can come and say, hey, okay, then let's make it hybrid. And for the common languages, we can have interpreters. And then for the second languages, we can have, you know, AI solutions. And then it becomes a problem.
Let's talk about that question right after this exercise.
Because that would be my question. What are the languages, you know?
Italian and English. It's English into Italian. Actually.
And is Italian considered a common language then?
Yes, I think so.
Is what is going to be discussed life-changing for the professionals? Does that mean that it's such high-quality training that it will change the way that the professionals attending will practice?
Absolutely.
Okay, those are all great questions. I have one last one. So if the tool doesn't do a perfect job, and let's say it gives you about 50% of the content, or maybe it gets something completely wrong, sometimes it even says the opposite of what is being said. So how much do you stand to lose if communication fails? How much would that cost?
I will lose a lot because people will not come back for the second course.
Okay, so now we need to find the strongest argument. We have heard several things that apply: confidentiality, she wants 100%. Don't think, oh, but I don't get 100% of what is being said as a human interpreter. She wants good communication. We can provide good communication. Don't let you been thrown off because of the percentages here. And I don't know, maybe there was another argument that you felt was very important. So let's hear the most important ones. Can we have the microphone up here?
Mine was actually a question for the prospect. What budget do you have?
I have very limited budget. I'm not going to tell you what budget I have, but I want to spend the least possible amount of money. It's a very stingy client.
Okay, so the budget question, I mean, you'll always have clients that leave you for cheaper interpreters, and some clients find money, surprisingly, somewhere. It's in the end, it's not up to us to find the money for them. We can sometimes offer solutions, maybe suggest a change in the program, and that way you can maybe work with teams of 2 and you don't need 3, something like that. Maybe you can do RSI if that helps you save money. But in the end, you heard her, she loses way more money if this goes wrong. And you heard that she needs the full content. So it'll go wrong and she will lose more money than she can save now. And I think that's probably the stronger argument. Let's hear Bertold, and then we wrap up this exercise.
Just essentially what you just said, the reputational risk is too costly to kind of be stingy about that. If you're happy to incur a reputational risk, then this is on you. And then any cent you're going to spend is going to be too much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Let's hear an applause for our second client. And my timer tells me that we have 5 minutes left for Q&A. So anything you'd like to ask or share, and we can all give the answers. It's not just me giving the answers. Wow, that was the first time I got extra 5 minutes. Just because you are the best group, probably. Go ahead.
I have a question about AI's ability to detect people, not detect, their ability to properly interpret people who are speaking English, specifically English as a second language. Because people talk a lot about, oh, AI detects or deals with accents better than we humans do. But has it been studied about the mistakes that people who do not speak English as a first language or whatever English, the mistakes that they make in pronunciation, that if it is speech to text, right there will be a mistake. Has that been studied in any of the studies that you have? So mistakes related to the source?
I got your question, and then I remembered that we had one pending question. So I'm going to answer that one first, and then I will get to you. So your question was about Italian and English. This would be an okay combination for AI. This is just one of many arguments, as you could tell. We are not saying, hey, whatever event you have, if it's English, Italian, you're fine, do it with AI. We're just saying, this is an issue, and this and this and that. And if on top of that, you're using low resource languages, which is often what they do because it's harder to find interpreters, then it's going to be even worse. You're not even getting the 50%. Okay, you'll have more mistakes. So I mean, I work with German and English, very common. I work with German and Spanish, still okay if you look at machine translation, yes? But I'm not worried because I know there's so much more. So please don't be offended that we put in here English and common languages. We did dumb it down a bit for the clients. Bertold also told us to. Because if we put in there, you know, will you be using high resource languages? I mean, my clients don't know. So this is why it actually says English. We talked about that a lot and then decided that for our clients, that would be the best way to phrase it. Now, the second question about accents. There are tools like, I think Otter AI can do transcription pretty well with accents. That doesn't mean that all the AST tools can do that. So there are some things, as I said before, that AI can do, but not every AST tool can do that, okay? And if you don't have the cultural background and AI doesn't have that, then these mistakes you said, the pronunciation may still be okay, but the plausibility check, did he really mean that? You know, like when a Spanish speaker said, we have supported terrorism for many years. You need to know that soportar in Spanish means something else, and he didn't mean to say that, and it doesn't make sense for him to say that. So you'll probably not say it in your interpretation, and AI will just say it, okay? So everything you learned in university, if you're in doubt, leave it out, generalize, no. If this is the most likely thing to be the translation for that, there it is. We have one here and then one question online. Can we do 1, 2, 3, okay?
Yeah, that's a quick one. Would there be an argument for the client that says, no, I just want to provide interpretation because it looks good on the flyer. There are not going to be many people listening to the interpretation. Most of the audience understands the languages that are going to be spoken. It's just so it looks good. And for maybe 1 or 2, because we've had sessions where we even didn't need to interpret because there was nobody listening.
Mm-hmm. I wrote down the question, and we'll hear 2 more, and then we'll do them all 3.
Yes, it's a question from Gabriela, but it applies to the questions that were being asked of. But it's interesting. It's been partly covered. But has the client any previous experience with AI-powered systems and found them satisfactory and accurate? This is a question to us.
So if the client has experience with that.
Prior experience.
Yes, so that was a question for the exercise, right? Yes, okay.
This is a client who has had previous experience with human interpreters, has had positive, supposedly, and is thinking of changing their strategy to save some money. Wouldn't it be responsible or even, you know, required for this decision to be made based on data? In other words, wouldn't it be responsible for the client to request a demo, for example, and evaluate the system as they would, let's say they want a new machine in their production line? I'm sure they would do tests before making a decision.
Yes.
And how is that different with AI?
Absolutely. I think that's a great start into that conversation with the client. And I know that some agencies have been doing that, also interpreter-run agencies, where they actually have prepared a video with an AI interpretation and a human interpretation to compare. And I think it's a very powerful thing to do as long as you do that in your client's mother tongue. Because if I show an English AI interpretation to my German client, they'll just think it's great, it sounds so good, you know, the pronunciation is good, I recognize a few words, so it's all there. But if you do it for the German clients in German or your clients in your respective languages, they'll get that information. And then you can say, look, this was the tool we actually paid for. That was not the free one. We actually told the tool the name of the organization so it would get that and not have a mistake there. And we also told it a few more things. And that was the best result we could get out of it. And then you have kind of a demo. And I also know of a case where a colleague said, they had a long-term relationship with a client, and they said, look, you always come on day 2 and 3, and on day 1, it's not that important. We would like to try AI. And she said, great, can I be there? Because I'm curious about it, and I can also advise you on it. Then later on, I'll just do this for free. I'll just come in and listen, and then we can talk about it. So free expert advice. And I thought that was a great idea. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that client then said, after rethinking, said, you know what? We prefer that you come in 3 days, so please come in on day 1 as well. Yeah, but to be open and to have that conversation with the client is always important, I think. Now, nobody listens. Who said that? Nobody listens to it anyways, and it just looks good on the flyer. Yeah, I mean, if it's not important, and it's. Even if there are languages that AI can't really do, if nobody's going to listen to it, it's probably a lost case anyways. I mean, if they don't use AI, with a microphone.
Sometimes it's just a few people, but it's lack of consideration with those people that you just do not consider.
Sure, and you may tell the client, are you sure? I mean, who are those 3 people? Maybe it's better not to provide anything if this can make you look bad. I just want to help you understand the possible risks. It can be an option in that case, but just be aware that to these 3 people, it looks good on the flyer, but then it looks bad during the event. So just consider that. Yes.
It's a philosophical question, let's say, going back to what Raffaella, it must come from the country, what she mentioned. I'm not usually very self-confident, but I am self-confident that I can convince at least some of my clients to stay with human interpreters if they ask me, if I'm sitting around that table. My problem is they wouldn't probably be asking me, they would be asking some IT guys in some AI company, I don't know, the chat GPT of interpretation. They would be asking their sellers, and I'm sure they have excellent selling arguments, which I could probably counter if I was participating in the conversation. The thing is, I'm not.
Yes, we need to do what we can because there is that hype, which is why we should be a bit worried, yes? And we need to try to be part of that conversation. We need to get the message out. So talk to equipment providers, send them the checklist. I mean, they do get the requests. That's the feedback we got, yeah? Talk to agencies who also may get the requests.
Hold on, because there are other people who also want to.
Yes, but she's just explaining the question.
In my neck of the wood, the technicians are just as worried. They are not asked for AI solutions. It's someone else.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be someone who you can talk to. But let's try to talk to as many as possible. And I know that the equipment providers do get this kind of requests. And then we hope that they have that knowledge. And also, both agencies and equipment providers have a better margin with human interpreters.
And you can also be proactive. You can also say, during coffee breaks, do you want to have a conversation about AI?
I don't know how much more time we have. Okay, so I'd say maybe 2 more questions. Would that be okay? Yes?
I want to know if there's a digital version of this and if we can use it on social media, for example, if AIC is going to do that for the general public.
Yes, there is a digital version. And it's going to be published on our LinkedIn channel. So this was the soft launch with the AB and now with you. And probably tomorrow morning when I'm back here, it may have already been published by the AI workstream. And you'll also get the file sent out by PRIMS, but you can already find it under resources. It's online. So you just need to go to aic.org and you'll find it there. Okay, one last question. We had said 2. We also said, because there were so many pending questions in the other groups, I just promised, without double checking with the rest of the work stream, I just promised that we'll open up a post on LinkedIn so we can continue the conversation there.
Yeah, exactly. So do you plan as a group to publish on LinkedIn materials that are targeted at clients for education awareness that we as members could repost to help raise the awareness among our clients?
I think it's a great idea. PRIMS actually had such a campaign. There was a lot you could repost. We are not working on that right now. We are also understaffed, I must say. So for now, we are only providing you with the tools to then do the work. And I think
So
that was
hold on.
it.
At the end, as every time we have a PRIMS event, we'll send you an email probably next week to recap, and you'll have all the material. And this would definitely be included, and you can just create your own post as well if you want. But the material is available. We will send it so you have it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, in a couple of minutes, we will wrap up with Ramin and the rest of the group.
Thank you so much.
So what do you want?
We just now wrap up,
Just
but we just
you.
use the other handle.
So there's one there. I think there's one in the back. Oh, sorry. Je moet er even bij. Yeah, it's in the back. I know where my mics are.
You know where your mics are. Take it then.
So you can. I don't know how many people.
Okay, that's fine. We can have.
start.
Check, 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 check.
Yeah. Yeah, now we can. Of course, let's take a selfie. That's good. Okay, welcome back. Before we wrap up, we just wanted to ask whether you had final and burning questions to either Saskia or Ramin. No question? Yes, there's one question. Where's the box? Here. Please.
Now, that was a very good throw. I wanted to ask how you assess the basketball abilities of this group of interpreters.
Well, you're taller and you always grasp the mic, Bertolt.
Federica?
Anybody else? No questions? Yes, you do have one, please.
Well, I'm not sure. Now that you know probably a little bit more than you used to about interpreters, not just today, but having interacted with the splendid standing committee, to whom I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude. What is your impression on interpreters as, you know, a profession? Do you think we should be perhaps more humble, more proud, more, you know, would you be worried having to organize a meeting or an event or even just an interview involving an interpreter, or would you feel confident it's going to be smooth?
Well, I had a great impression from this group. You are a highly intelligent, very proactive, very active group, which gives great confidence in your ability also to think further and to think also about expanding possibilities and grasping opportunities that are ahead of you. And I think you can use each other to a large extent, so reach out to each other, to learn from each other and to hear each other's experience and inspiration. So that really helps, I think. So I was really impressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, actually, because I'm recapping now myself. The second and the third group, I mentioned it, not the first, but I do feel like you're like artists, right? I feel you're an artist and you're passionate about what you do. And this is why I think this part about marketing and client relationships and selling, that's the tough part. I would give that example, I think, to one of the groups. It's like Picasso, right? Or Dali. They were not only talented, they knew how to do marketing. Same way with Einstein, by the way. And it's not from me, it's from a book written by Malcolm Gladwell. They did research that many people are talented. So what I would recommend you is to show your talents, and with humility, though. And with humility. And there I can only give you another tip. In interviews, they found out it's not very good if you go in and tell them everything you did. Great. It's actually good to start little and wait for at the end to say some good things. Because that's what people remember. So humility, if you ask me, it's always good. Then if they ask you if it comes up, it's better at the end.
So that's the Stephen Jobs moment.
It is.
Just one last thing.
Please, go ahead.
That's the Stephen Jobs moment, where every major announcement was made in the last 20 seconds of every... Just one more thing.
That's when the iPhone was created.
That's right.
Yeah. Now you have to throw far.
Oh, good throw.
You were talking about artists and talent, and I feel that's an important discussion that we need to have between talent and passion. and this is something that I would like to ask both of you about. Do you feel that people have the right to earn a livable income from their passion? Or are we, as part of a society, supposed to actually harness our talent for income and exercise our passion on our own terms? It's a philosophical question, but you were talking about talent, passion, being an artist. Do people have the right, a singer, does he have the right to live and earn a living only from singing? You know? Marketable skills and everything, just to see your opinion.
You said it, it's a philosophical question, so if you have time, we go for a drink after.
Oh, no, cop out. Come on, just give an honest opinion. It's okay. No wrong answers.
That what? To be able to charge for talent?
No, should you have the right to earn a livable wage, a livable income from your passion?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Definitely. I mean, and even if you should even explore it a bit more. To what is my talent? Where do I get my energy from? What really pleases me? And if you can make a living out of that, how rewarding is that?
No.
And you do have that right.
Yeah, I know. If you can, yes. I was asking if it's something that you're entitled to.
Yes, of course.
Well, in fact, maybe I answer it differently now. Go deeper. Do you know the concept of the ikigai? Some do. So the ikigai is a Japanese concept that ideally the people they researched who are really happy in their lives, you know, the occentuaries, is they have fulfilled 4 things. One is the circle of the things you like. The second thing is the things you're good at. Sometimes the things you like, you're not good at, or you're good at it, you don't like. So that's already 2. What's you like? Good like. And then third is what the world needs. So maybe some of the talent, you know, I'm really good at reading maps, you know. Does the world need it? I don't know. Okay? So third is what the world needs, and the fourth is what you're paid for. What you're paid for. So if you're in the middle, and then we can have the talent discussion, is you like it, you're good at it, the world needs it, and you're getting paid for. That's your ikigai. And that's, by the way, I told people, so when we do the business coaching, we find your ikigai. We find your ikigai.
Yeah. I asked just because you're talking to a bunch of people who have a marketable talent and a passion for it. So, you know.
That's a great conclusion, actually. So, before, shall we ask the audience, you know, what they thought of today's meeting? Yeah?
For the takeaways.
Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
So no, we wanted to ask you because, you know, we like to put it back at you. So we give the microphone. Okay, so if you really promise to keep it to 10 seconds, everybody, right? You don't have to. Just what is like a learning that you had or an aha moment. We had an aha moment earlier, somebody in the group, right? A takeaway or something you want to share with everybody else that you learned, but only in 10 seconds. Okay, and you pass it on. You pass it in the row, yeah. Go ahead.
I think we need to get better at data, business acumen, financial acumen.
Sorry. Too tired.
I feel quite encouraged, actually, by what I've learned and heard today. I am a colleague who is probably closer to retirement age than a lot of other people in this room. And things are not looking so depressing after today. So I feel quite good about it. Thank you so much.
You want to pass it?
Set a worrying slot and decide if you want to worry.
Worry slot. Good.
Yeah.
I'll go pass it back there so we get to a corner over there. Yeah, anything like this. It's a way of recapping as well, right? What we discussed.
Do you want to say something?
No.
Oh, we need somebody up there.
Go for it. I feel motivated. I'll go home and I will work on my RAP program.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
I think we are lucky people, all of us in this room, because we have the chance to do something that we love, and we are paid for it. So we're just lucky.
I think the AI checklist is especially useful, and it actually allowed us to focus on the fact that we should listen to our clients before we tell them what they need. And I think that will be a very good step forward.
Great. Thank you. Technician up there, no? Or maybe? No? You don't have anything? No takeaway from you? We lost the microphone.
Hello? Yeah. The answer to the questions when you're approached in the coffee break, so how soon do you think you'll be replaced by AI? Some really good arguments, not just saying, oh my God, that's going to happen. No, that's never going to happen, but an actual meaningful answer to that.
Anybody there on the right? Then we pass it on this way.
The Excel sheet of your contacts to keep up with them, some weekly, some monthly.
Okay, the RAP.
Right.
Can you pass it on this way? On this, so we go like this. Over there, up there, up there. Go up. No? Nothing from you? The center. Let's go to the center.
I think I like the idea of taking a step back and thinking about our skills, because if we actually take the time and brainstorm with other people, we realize we've got skills. We've got good skills, and it's very encouraging, I think.
What about the farmer and hunter analogy? I was thinking I don't have that much crop to farm, so maybe I should become a hunter.
Maybe the shift that happened here, because this morning everybody was saying, okay, maybe we should be something else than interpreters, and now all the feedback is quite positive about our job, so I will be thinking about that tonight.
Great.
Maybe we should learn to market ourselves differently and communicate differently about our humanity as interpreters compared to AI.
Thank you.
Yeah, all this negative talk about AI and everything, my takeaway is that the human factor is still going to outlive us all.
Let's come down here.
Well, if I have to say something, in my case it was interesting because I'm an interpreter and interpreter trainer and business coach. We talked about it earlier. So for me it's interesting. I have already made that transition. I became a coach about 6 years ago. And the skills are very similar. It's basically about being a good communicator, being a good listener, and bringing people together.
Okay, thank
so
you.
it doesn't have to be really a significant shift in what you do, right?
Over there.
I like the worrying hour or minute or however.
The circle of concern and the circle of influence. I really like it.
The most important thing that I learned today is that it is perfectly normal, that it takes some time to adapt to change, that you have to go through this process, that it starts with denial, and then that everything can go down the drain and you're even depressed before you start adapting. And I thought that it was a personal flaw in me, that it sometimes takes a long time for me to change, but now I know that it's not a flaw.
Yeah, nice to know. Thank you.
Shall I? I think there's so much that we can do instead of just worrying. That's what I learned. Yeah.
What I'm amazed in this meeting, like the others before that I attended, that here you find a pool of all talents and all resources that you need. And a collaborative approach between human interpreters in this time where we are challenged by technology is just the best thing you can have. And this is why I'm grateful for such events and for such workshops and the whole experience. Thank you.
Three things. One is that I thought I was depressed and I had lost hope, but actually now I know I was grieving, so I'm waiting for the upward curve. The second thing was I find it immensely enriching to see everything from the outside through the listening to you all. And the third thing is I don't have to believe everything I think. And that's fantastic.
Very nice.
The AI checklist and the skill I want to develop within the next 3 to 6 months.
I'd say the contact sheet, the RAP, was a good tip.
Contacting clients more often or at all.
I have a lot of takeaways. Among those are AI checklists, definitely, and contact your clients. You said more often. For me, it's just at least once in a while. Contact your clients. Indeed, it is valuable. And just the atmosphere here is so enriching and so motivational. It's just great to be here.
For me, it's get 20 no's before you think you are failing.
I was happy to hear that we are the ikigai. And I'm also a bit afraid to have to carry back home that heavy box of printouts of the AI checklist. So if you have a regional event coming up and you would like to be the first one to hand out the checklist as a printout, feel free to take some home with you.
Well, I think the most important, for me at least, was this amazing event organised by the PRIMS Standing Committee. I think we have to thank you. I think that it was the best occasion to speak to each other. So thank you to both our moderators. Thank you, Magda, for an excellent presentation. It gave us the space to speak, and I think that's the most important. We spoke, we said things that could be controversial for one part or the other, but we heard each other. And I think that's the true sense of having an association which is a family. And we belong to the family of PRIMS and the family of AIC, and I'd like to thank you all for engaging so much.
Very tough act to follow. That's not fair. To me, the thing that is going to stay with me for a long time, because I found it very powerful, talking about clients, was one thing that you said. What will they say about you when you're not in the room? That is deep.
I will say, first, I was using a scale of 5 in our assessment form. We'll make that a scale of 4. He can explain the reasons to you. I'm happy I have my ikigai in one career, but now using transferable skills, I'm going to create another one, another ikigai that will run in parallel. And there was a big thank you. Great location, great people, great, really food for thought, and I'm grateful for my colleagues. And the AI checklist, I will organize client days with the AI checklist.
Thank you. Yes, we come at the very last, so I don't have much to say. Just that each time, nearly each time I come to an AIC meeting, I feel how resourceful people we are all. So I come back very enthusiastic and recharged, let's say. Thank you to all, and thank you, Federica, for this wonderful event.
I feel totally overwhelmed and grateful for the huge amount of knowledge that you have shared with us. Thank you so much. I don't have a single takeaway. I have so many things spinning in my mind right now. I think I will need a couple of weeks to digest everything. And thank you for sharing your presentations if you are.
No, there's still that row too. That row, yeah.
Okay, it's not the first, will not be the last. As usual, it's amazing the work you do here in PRIMS, and I hope you just keep on bringing more AIC members and communicating everything we discuss here, we hear here, we speak, and all these relationships that we build, we keep building stronger. Thank you so much.
So I'd also like to thank the PRIMS Standing Committee for this opportunity to discuss the private market and in different regions, which is so good for all of us. As takeaways, the AI interpretation checklist, which is going to be great. And I also like learning about the different profiles and personalities of people and how they react to change, not just to identify my own way of facing it, but especially to be more empathetic to other people and the way they relate to change.
Yeah, the AI checklist is for sure a great takeaway, and the aspect of doing what's most important first and not what's most urgent. And this is my first PRIMS, and I'm completely amazed.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. It's my second AIC event, and I had no expectations whatsoever. But I mean, I'm amazed, at how things have been organized. I'm pleased to get to know most of you, part of the younger generation as well. I'm grateful because so many people have shared amazing tips with me already, and we really appreciate it. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you all who were involved in organizing this amazing day that we've spent together. I would like to thank you because by the end of the day, I feel I am more encouraged and motivated to remain committed to my life passion, that is being an interpreter, but also to pursue some transformation at some point if and when the time comes. Thank you.
So this was my first PRIM as well, and it was really interesting, both of the presentations, and especially to see that there is some people within AIC working especially on AI. Everything that was shared by Magda was very, very interesting, and I think it's actionable points that we can all implement. And it was great hearing from colleagues, because things like marketing is something that I really dislike, as many of us do, as you said. But some colleagues had very concrete tips that are like soft marketing, and that could be very useful because in the end it's needed.
Yeah. Anybody else? And maybe you. One more here. For you.
Oh my God! Famous last words. Now, I guess what's pretty relevant here is that you managed in your conversations to actually make us reflect as to what we like, what we enjoy, why we enjoy it, and potentially, if we wish to change anything or if we wish to develop, how to actually go about it and what strategies we can actually pursue. Potentially looking at the slides again, and I guess that's a beautiful conclusion for me of the event. And my discovery about this group in particular is the fact that there is so much passion, so much excitement. I don't follow the Judeo-Christian logic that you have to be in pain to kind of justify your salary. I believe that if you enjoy what you do, you'll be very good at it, and every salary will be 100% deserved. And so that's my logic here. So be the best you can be in whatever you're passionate about, and then the rewards are just going to come. Rewards in terms of friendships, relationships, and good relationships with your clients. Do we get to share takeaways as well? My takeaway is that we promised our speakers that the audience was going to be extremely participative and engaged. And I want to thank you because you never disappoint.
Well, my takeaway is something that keeps on overwhelming me every single time I participate in an event like this, and it shouldn't be overwhelming me anymore, but it does, which is the wonderful things that we can do when we join our efforts. It's just the best thing in life.
Stand up. You have to stand up. No. Thank you. Thank you for all coming to Utrecht. I think it's very special that you all came, and I don't have anything else to add, but I think for me, the very positive and openness, I think that's really, really, really good. So let's keep doing that. Yeah.
have to keep an eye on this. Okay, I have one sentence, one phrase, which is, find your talent, your added value, develop it, and exploit it. Okay? Make use of it, leverage it. That's my takeaway.
I actually never remember what has been discussed in PRIMS meetings because I do many things, but listening to what is actually said by the speakers, I'm sorry, that's the reality. But my main takeaway is that I find it extremely rewarding to see you proactively engaged in what you've been asked to do today, and that for me is the best gift ever, so that's good. So we have a small gift for you to thank you for being here and for such a great day. Ike branded, of course, please. Magda, for you, we'll come tomorrow because you have another part tomorrow morning. So wait. And do you have your final words? Yes, please.
So first of all, a big thank you to the team because they met with us a few times in order to prepare it. So you probably know it, preparation is important. So thank you very much to Federica, Anna, Livia, Maya, and Livia. Veronica. So thank you to them. We couldn't do this job. They looked at the presentations. But thank you for inviting us. It's really a pleasure. I like to work. It's not often that we work with I work with passionate people who are in the flow. I could really see, the love of your job. So that's even more important, that I feel more meaningful to help you to sell it better. So I hope whatever you do, that you do it happily and with your ikigai, that you paid for it. But thank you for inviting us. And if you follow us, I'll be happy to be in touch with you.
There's very little for me to add here. I completely agree with everything Ramin said. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure working with the team, for all the help, all the cooperation, all the preparation we had with them. So really a pleasure. And it's a joy to work with you because you're very participative and you're very willing. And that makes our day also very pleasant. Thank you for that.
Right on the dot.
On the dot, that's great. Okay, so enjoy your evening. We will reconvene here tomorrow morning at 9:30. And we're going to take a picture like the Oscars. Okay, are you ready? Those connected online, please switch on your cameras as well.
Since we have you all here, there were pictures taken last night at the cocktail. We were going to use them on social media. If someone doesn't want to appear on the pictures, please do let us know. If you don't say anything, we'll take it as an okay, and then we'll go ahead and publish them. There's no better
réfléchir, faut toujours peser ses mots. Désobéir à tes désirs et t'adapter au tempo. Tu comprends pas tout, tout est trop flou, comme si t'avais bu la tasse, noyé comme tous ces idiots. Les filles, elles respirent sous l'eau, elles sont bien pires que dans Shakespeare, elles ont des dents sous la peau. Joue les martyrs, cache un sourire, un revolver dans le dos. Le grand méchant loup, elles sont partout, tous en monter la menace. Tu dis ça, t'es pas macho, mais c'est pas des gens comme il faut. T'as peur des filles, ah si seulement c'était des gars. Peur des filles, elles préparent un sale coup, ça se voit. Peur des filles, elles sont bien pires que ce qu'on croit. Peur des filles, t'as peur des filles, elles se transforment une fois par mois. Peur des filles, elles ont pas la même chose en bas. Peur des filles, ça pourrait faire des dégâts. Peur des filles. Ça va pas leur suffire de les séduire, leur offrir des coquelicots. Elles vont venir pour te punir, tu sais bien qu'elles veulent ta peau. Pour toi ni mot doux, ni rendez-vous, mais un coup de genou bien en place. Tu imagines le fiasco, si en plus elles sont costauds. T'as peur des filles, ah si seulement c'était des gars. Peur des filles, elles préparent un sale coup, ça se voit. Peur des filles, elles sont bien pires que ce qu'on croit. Peur des filles, t'as peur des filles, elles se transforment une fois par mois. Peur des filles, elles ont pas la même chose en bas. Peur des filles, ça pourrait faire des dégâts. Peur des filles. Jusqu'à la fin, un peu poussière. Me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda. Je ne joue pas si c'est pour te plaire. Me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda. J'ai choisi pour moi, c'est dans les failles que passe la lumière. Me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda. Car la beauté est sous nos paupières. Me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda. Regarde bien, regarde-toi, tu fais pas envie. Fais un effort pour une fois, rien n'est acquis. Illusive et tu déçois, la bonne symétrie, c'est jamais fini. Je dois vous dire, je veux pas encore de cinéma, la pureté m'ennuie. Je préfère être en pyjama qu'en monokini. Toutes les femmes au même format, le monomanie, du modèle mini. Jusqu'à la fin, un peu poussière. Me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda. Je ne joue pas si c'est pour te plaire. Me da igual ser linda, me da igual ser linda.